To understand today's animosity between Israel and Iran, we must look back to a time when they were unlikely partners. Before 1979, Iran under the Shah and Israel quietly cooperated, sharing intelligence and resources to counter common threats in the region. Iran supplied oil, Israel offered military and agricultural expertise, a pragmatic alliance, not an ideological one. But this partnership was unpopular within Iran, especially among religious leaders and political dissidents who saw it as a betrayal of Islamic values. The 1979 Iranian Revolution changed everything. The Shah was overthrown, and Ayatollah Khomeini's new Islamic Republic severed all ties with Israel. The new regime branded Israel an illegitimate little Satan, making hostility toward Israel a core part of its identity. Embassies closed, economic and military ties vanished, and Iran became Israel's most determined adversary. This wasn't just a political shift, it was a foundational change that set the stage for decades of conflict. The revolution ended a secret friendship and ignited a rivalry that would shape the Middle East for generations. What began as a cold peace quickly evolved into a shadowy, undeclared war. After 1979, Israel and Iran's conflict moved underground, fought through proxies and covert operations. Iran built a network of militant allies, most notably Hezbollah and Lebanon, to challenge Israel without direct confrontation. Hezbollah, trained and funded by Iran's Revolutionary Guard, became a powerful force on Israel's border. Iran also supported Palestinian groups like Hamas and Islamic Jihad, creating a multi-front threat. Israel responded with its own shadow war. Mossad-led assassinations, cyber attacks and sabotage targeting Iran's proxies and nuclear program. This deadly chess game stretched across the Middle East and beyond, rarely erupting into open war but always simmering. Each side sought to undermine the other, keeping the conflict alive through espionage, sabotage and proxy violence. The result, a region locked in constant tension, with both nations avoiding direct war, but never far from the brink. The Shadow War defined their relationship for decades, setting the stage for even greater dangers. The conflict's most dangerous front emerged with Iran's nuclear ambitions. Israel views a nuclear-armed Iran as an existential threat and has vowed to prevent it by any means necessary. Israel's campaign included cyber attacks like Stuxnet and the assassination of Iranian nuclear scientists, aiming to delay Iran's progress. Meanwhile, world powers negotiated the 2015 Iran nuclear deal, imposing strict limits and inspections in exchange for sanctions relief. Israel opposed the deal, warning it only delayed Iran's path to a bomb. In 2018, the US withdrew from the agreement, reimposing sanctions and escalating tensions. Iran responded by breaching nuclear limits, enriching uranium beyond agreed levels. The diplomatic path collapsed, and Iran edged closer to nuclear capability. The nuclear issue now overshadows all else, pushing both nations toward a possible direct confrontation. The world watches as the clock ticks on a crisis with global consequences. The Shadow War has erupted into open conflict. In Syria, Iran entrenched itself to threaten Israel, prompting hundreds of Israeli airstrikes on Iranian targets. These were no longer secret operations. Israel openly targeted IRGC commanders and weapons shipments. Iran and its proxies retaliated with drone and rocket attacks, and a maritime shadow war unfolded in the region's vital waterways. The cycle of strikes and counterstrikes shattered old taboos, erasing the buffer of plausible deniability. In 2024, after an Israeli strike killed top Iranian commanders in Damascus, Iran launched a massive direct attack on Israel, hundreds of drones and missiles from Iranian soil. Israel, with US and allied help, intercepted most of the attack and responded with its own strike inside Iran. For the first time, both nations exchanged direct fire, setting a dangerous new precedent. The conflict has moved from the shadows to open confrontation, with the risk of escalation higher than ever. The region now stands on the edge of a wider war. As of June 2025, Israel and Iran's conflict is at its most volatile. Direct attacks have replaced shadowy operations, raising the risk of a regional war that could spiral out of control. The Middle East's stability is crucial to the global economy. Any major conflict could disrupt oil supplies and trigger worldwide economic turmoil. The US and other powers would likely be drawn in, turning a regional fight into a global crisis. The stakes go beyond Israel and Iran. Nuclear proliferation, energy security, and world peace hang in the balance. De-escalation and renewed diplomacy are urgently needed to prevent catastrophe. Without a solution, the world remains under the shadow of a war no one can afford. The future depends on finding a path away from the brink.